Welcome, everybody, to AIA Austin's Homes Tour 2021 edition. I want to thank you all for joining us as we learn about the Clarksville residents. I am Denise Hudak. I'll be your moderator throughout this session, but I want to start off by giving thanks to our sponsors and underwriters. Our title sponsor for this session is Douglas Construction Company. Our underwriters are David Wilson Garden Design, Foursquare Builders, and Exclusive Windows and Doors of Austin. Our gold sponsors are Alpha Granite and Tile, Austin Iron, Booth Concrete, Love County Interiors and Design, and Lowen Windows. I want to start off by introducing the team, our hosts from LaRue Architecture, Jim LaRue and Emily Hayden.
Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
They'll be walking us through the presentation. And if you guys may or may not have seen the house in person yesterday, but as you watch, I encourage you to just write your questions in the Q&A. And after it's done, we'll read some of those out and have Jim and Emily answer them for us.
Thanks,
Jim, Emily, go for it.
Be ready. Well, thanks for joining today. We appreciate your time. Thanks to Ingrid and the staff again, and all the underwriters and sponsors, and we will recognize them at the end of our presentation as well. We opted this year to do a video, so it's going to be a little bit different. So we have our CEU, it's embedded in the video, and the tour, it's all sort of one continuous presentation. So Emily will hit play, and then we'll see you on the other side of the video.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the 2021 AIA Austin Homes Tour. This is the Clarksville residence designed by LaRue Architects. I'm Jim LaRue, principal of LaRue Architects, and this is Emily Hayden, our senior associate. Emily is also the lead designer for this project. So I started LaRue Architects in 1989 after I had moved to Austin in the early 80s and worked in the architecture and construction world for a number of years. I decided it was time, so I went and did my own thing for a while, and eventually added other people and moved the firm, kind of figured out my direction, and got to the point where residential was all I really wanted to do. So today's firm, we have a boutique firm. We're very close. We work in a very studio-like environment. We have a senior associate, Emily Hayden, who's been with us the longest. We have 3 project architects, Patrick Mobley, Ben Arbib, and Chris Housley. We have an interior designer, Richard Medina, and we have our office manager, Brooke Friesen. Our Clarksville residence project started with a 1920s bungalow remodel in Clarksville on the edge of downtown Austin. Our project is located in the old West Austin Neighborhood Association. So when we first saw this with our clients, Dan and Sylvia, we, it wasn't in very good shape, and we thought, we might be able to take the house down, we might not be able to. So in order to address that issue, we reached out to Larry Ersick with Architexas to help us as a consultant with Awana and the Historic Commission. So Larry was really critical to getting the project kicked off. He did all the as-built drawings, and he guided us through that process so that we could continue on with our concept of our project. So to give you some idea about what this is, we're sitting on a site on West 10th Street, just east of Blanco, overlooking Lamar Boulevard in downtown Austin. The site is 77 feet wide. It's 150 feet deep. It has a sloping topography from the west to the east. The original bungalow is on a pier and beam foundation system and had about a 7-foot crawl space with the raw dirt floor. And a pretty sort of open, empty backyard, one nice pecan tree in the front. This house is in a historic neighborhood, so we really wanted to stay true to the Clarksville neighborhood. Awana and the Historic Commission want us to stay true. So what you see in this photo of the original house is exactly what we were tasked with restoring. So we've kept the dormer, restored the entire front porch, the railings, the columns, all the siding. We kept the front facade, we kept the west facade, which is down the right-hand side of the building, and we kept the original roof line. with its dormer. So with the information from the Historic Commission and Larry Ersich's input and the client, our final edition of the client program for this project was to remodel the existing home and complete an addition for a total of a 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath home with an open living, dining, kitchen, an office, an exercise room, and parking for 3 cars. So our design concepts for this project are twofold. With respect to the existing house, our idea was to remove all the additions that were done over the years that were not a part of the original building, including the entire second floor with its rickety stair, which we believe was a homeowner-built addition many, many years ago. We also, as we took the house apart, we did particular care to reclaim all the shiplap siding, salvage the existing hardwood flooring, some light fixtures, some old hardware, as much as it was practical to take out of the building and reuse or repurpose. We did do that. Our concept for the addition would be to incorporate support spaces, the gallery, the primary suite, exercise room, and a carport with access to the alley.
For us, we designed top-down, and we collided a low-pitched roof, essentially flat, onto the existing hipped mass. We raised this quadrant as high as we could without interfering with the existing structure, and the purpose of the height was first and foremost to capture the views of downtown. And because the central core is where the homeowners spend most of their time, we designated these functions to this most prime spot of the home. The next most important mass is the primary suite, space that we also designed to have optimum views. So we knew that we wanted to give some height to this mass as well. Here is a rundown of the materials. 1x6 painted white siding, smooth integral color stucco, gray metal wall and roofing panels, plaster and wood soffit, teak and looters flooring, exposed stap tie, and board form concrete.
Let's take a look at a few photos of the house during construction. In these images, you can see the slope of the site, the enhanced excavation required below the existing building to allow for parking, mechanical, and support. The soils on this site were poor at best with a deep clay base, so the foundation system is quite sophisticated, and Booth Concrete did an unbelievable job of installing this challenging and difficult foundation system with varying heights, deep concrete beams, deep piers. The long extended concrete beams reinforced to tie the entire structural grid together that supported the cradle that supports the pool hanging on the edge of the bluff. It's a really quite a sophisticated foundation system. I'm not sure that anyone but Booth could have accomplished this. As you can see, the house is meticulously crafted. Collaboration continues with trades, superintendents, builders, design professionals, all working together to make sure every last detail is brought together for our clients. Welcome to our CEU. The title of our course is Fenestration Criteria for Contemporary Residential Design. The course comes with 4 learning objectives. Number 1 being window and door design for a modern residence, window and door composition to enhance design, window and door selection criteria, and finally, material transitions, detailing, and execution. We've embedded our CEU course throughout the virtual tour of this home. I think you'll find that it's more meaningful as you see how the window and door design is impacting each space individually and how it impacts the overall design. We're really looking forward to having you through the whole tour because we've embedded it so that you're really forced to stay with us till the bitter end. Also, you'll see that we've covered the first 3 learning objectives very carefully during the virtual tour. The 4th objective I'm just going to speak to now, so you can kind of hold that in the back of your head while you're going through the others. So, material transitions, detailing, and execution. We did door window details like everyone does, and with the low-end window product that we had selected. But we also spent a tremendous amount of time in the field. When we got to the appropriate stage during construction, with the Foursquare building team, with Wes Wigington, and especially with Kevin Emmons, maybe one of the best superintendents we've ever worked with. Also, Chris Brown with Exclusive, who's the low-end window rep, and the actual low-end window reps from the factory. So we had an extraordinary team, and we spent a lot of time looking at all the little flashing details and exactly how we would order each specific window, because every window has a different flashing condition, and every window needs to be addressed individually so that those details can be executed perfectly when we get to the field. So some windows are ordered with flanges, some without, some with flanges at the top or at the bottom or only on the side. So lots of different conditions means lots of different solutions and many, many details. And we find that working out some of these details very carefully in the field with the team, it improves the results tremendously, and at the end of the day, we just have an incredible installation of our door and window system. Thank you.
And now, welcome to our tour. Here we are in the foyer. This space is very similar in proportion to the original foyer dimensions. At just over 7 feet wide, this space might typically feel tight, but with an 11-foot ceiling height, this space feels just right. Looking back at the entry fenestration, much of what was built was restored to its original state, including the side lights and transom. We had more leeway with the door itself, and our homeowners agreed upon a solid wood door, making the beauty of the original side lights stand out. The walls are lined with 1x6 siding, similarly laid to the exterior paneling. But instead of carrying the white paint inside, the boards are painted a deep blue to modernize the space and add drama. Integrated into the grooves of the siding is a concealed art rail, and with our homeowners hailing from Louisiana, the great George Rodriguez Blue Dog stands proud to greet guests. The airy decorative light fixture is ethereal against the dark hue. We wanted to keep the formality of the foyer, but we also wanted to capitalize on prime real estate. So we designed concealed doors into the paneling, and without any obvious door hardware, it is difficult to tell that they even exist. To the right is one guest bedroom, and to the left is Dan's office.
So in this room, we're going to stop for a second and focus on the first section of our CEU. Our focus here will be on the design of the windows. In this room, we have a fairly traditional box bay design solution that you see here in the image with a floor-to-ceiling fixed glass unit. But during the design process, we looked at a number of different solutions. Should we use operable windows or fixed? Should they be more traditional like the front of the home? Should we begin to make the transformation in this space from old to new, both interior and exterior? We finally decided that the form of this space was right. The box bay is the right solution, but the window design needed to be contemporary. So we went with a corner glazed unit. We do have a little mole cap cover on that corner to help manage some of the cost. Also to keep the look a little bit more traditional, we opted for 3 fixed glass units going floor to ceiling. The unit height here is 9 feet tall. These are low-end windows. They're low-end direct set. They have a full extension 1.25" jamb. They have been sized to very carefully tuck the finishes, the drywall finishes, and the flooring finishes just underneath the head and the sill. Also at the jamb, the wall materials will be tucked behind that as well. So this is the central living space of this home. We have 14-foot ceilings. This space is comprised of the kitchen at one end, a dining space in the center, and the living gathering space at the near end. The idea for this room was to make it almost like a modern dormer plugged onto the side of the house overlooking the city. So when we looked back at the original drawings, you saw a sort of a porch element. Well, we've recreated that, at least from a roofline perspective, to allow us to open this entire room out to the covered living space and then to the pool beyond and then the city beyond that. To touch on the continuation of our CEU, we're in the single most important space in the house and the most important design element in terms of the overall feel for this project. So this large expanse of 20-foot wide opening, it's 14 feet tall, And starting with design, the question is, how do we do this? We have to be able to transition from the interior to the exterior space. So we looked at a number of design solutions: hinge doors, pivot doors, sliding doors, no doors, doors to the side, doors in the center. So all of that given, we also looked at different materials. Should we set the tone of this house with a steel window package? Should it be an all aluminum package? Should we stain it? Should we paint it? So, and all of those little pieces add to the window design and the fenestration. So we've set a 10-foot horizontal design datum line in this house. And we decided that the best thing to do was to be able to use a sliding door product so that we could open the space between the interior and the exterior, but not eat up a tremendous amount of floor space to accommodate a sliding door or a folding door or a pivot door. So the question is, how do we do that? It's 14 feet tall, but we want to respect the 10-foot line. So we opted to get with Chris Brown and Lowen Windows, and Lowen introduced us to their curtain wall system, the first of its kind here in Central Texas. So what this window unit allows us to do over any other design that we looked at is to have a sliding door unit, 4 panels wide, the 2 center panels open. Above that, from the 10-foot datum line to the 14-foot ceiling, we have a 4-panel transom. So the problem has always been, how can I get a sliding door and a transom without a large horizontal structural member separating the two? Well, with the Lowen curtain wall, we're able to reduce that horizontal member down to 2 1/8 inches and maintain our 10-foot tall sliders and have the entire 20 by 14-foot unit read as one design element.
On the technical side of the Lowen curtain wall, the sliding doors are sitting on a track. They sit down tight to the floor, and the weight of the panel with the weather stripping waterproofs the doors. So in order to operate the doors, you'll need to turn the lift and slide handle, which then raises the glass panel off of the track and allows you to slide the door easily into the open position. You notice at the bottom where the interior flooring meets the track and the exterior flooring also meets the track, making a seamless transition from inside to out. The water is accommodated in a slot drainage track below the threshold, which is then daylighted to weep the water that enters that system.
Standing in the kitchen, viewing back towards the foyer, is a framed view of the Capitol in the distance. In the near view are the dining and living areas. The framed art TV above the linear burner gas fireplace in the living area is complemented with an umlauf sculpture to the side. Also designed into the kitchen area is a hinge door solution that caps out at the same 10-foot datum line of the adjacent sliding glass doors. But the extreme ease of this door is preferred over the sliders for daily use. It is also closer to the grill outside, and with patties in one hand, the operation of the hinge door is easy with the other. We have transitioned from the central core to the gallery space. The ceiling height has been compressed to 10 feet from 14 feet, and the exterior wood soffit seamlessly flows through to the interior ceiling. To the west side of the gallery is wall space for art, and to the east side is floor-to-ceiling glass, allowing panoramic views of the art of downtown. The walls on the west side of the gallery back up to the support spaces of the home, strategically placed in locations that don't require the prime view. The window wall on the east side are floor-to-ceiling Lowen direct set. A hinged, narrow profile door has been inserted into the unit and is maximized to its allowable width and height. Again, the wood floor touches the windowsill and the window head abuts the wood soffit. We opted against selecting the same timber frame curtain wall system as in the living space because the direct set is more cost-effective, is a similar profile, and we adhere to the size limitations.
So now we're in the primary suite of the house. This area, the private area of the home, is located in the far southern corner of the lot. The primary suite is also designed, aside from overlooking all of downtown, to look down the center line of the swimming pool. So we very carefully set this room up where the center line of the bed is on the center of the spa, and it makes for a really beautiful connection between these two spaces. In this room, we switched
from the low and direct set, which we use in the gallery, and now we've gone back to the low and curtain wall system. One, because we needed a sliding door solution, and two, to make a connection to the living room space that we talked about earlier. So we've cornered the glass in this particular unit. We've gone back to our 10-foot horizontal datum line, and then above that datum line, we've set the transom, just like the living room, though only in this room it's only 2 feet tall versus 4. And then this lift and slide panel also pockets into the wall. So this is a very sophisticated door and window system, but given the premier location of this space on the site, this was our best design solution here in terms of doors and windows. Behind the bed wall of the primary suite is the primary bath. This room is a little bit narrow. We're sort of up against the end of the site here, but it has clear story windows that light the build space from the south. And then over the tub, we have a very large direct set window, which affords a beautiful view of downtown. We still have privacy since we're well above the ground here, but we have a terrific view. The interior designer did a beautiful job with this sort of narrow space, but really interesting materials, beautifully composed, and I think a wonderful space at the end of the project.
While the majority of our CEU is complete, we want to highlight some other areas of the home and continue the tour. Previously touched upon during our CEU is the location of our support program. In this core is the powder/pool bath, utility, prep kitchen, bar, elevator, and stair down to the garage. When our homeowners host an event, the caterers typically set up in the utility room, which has great counter space for prep and buffet trays. The bar is located in this core, but is formal enough should a guest want to prepare a drink. The elevator goes down to the lower garage level and is used quite frequently for loading groceries up to the main floor. Along the back wall is a series of Life magazines, salvaged from the original homeowner and made into historical art. From the dining room and through the glass, front and back wine display, these magazine covers serve as a backdrop to this volumetric stair space. This powder room has many gems packed into an efficient space. Salvaged from the original home was the mantel from the famous Driscoll Hotel, which has been thoughtfully repurposed as part of the vanity. And the chandelier is original to the house as well. This back stair to the south side of the home leads down first to the carport, which is accessed off the alley, and continues down to the exercise room below. Love County Interiors selected sculptural bocce lights for the double height space, and we think they fit perfectly in this volume. The snap-tie concrete wall was carefully selected as a material to serve as a strong base for the hovering building above. The exercise room doors slide open directly onto a yoga patio overlooking downtown. The exterior space is equally important as the interior space. The homeowners desired a lap pool, so we designed the pool closest to the downtown lot line, leaving the residual space between the house and pool as outdoor living and courtyard. The pool has a negative edge on two sides, both the downtown and garage entry sides, and we decided on a Lautner edge, which allows the water to be at the same height as the adjacent patio, appearing as if the pool has no apparent coping, beautifully executed by Austin Water Designs. The spa is located closest to the primary suite and is completely submerged within the pool. What an amazing place to have a cocktail and take in the city views. An accoutrement to the pool and spa is a linear burner fire pit, perfect for the crisper fall nights. The courtyard is surfaced with artificial turf grass, a material that always looks manicured and requires practically no maintenance. The outdoor living space is 14 feet deep and is the length of the entire mass it abuts. The grill is used frequently, as is the outdoor seating area, a great spot to watch a game. With the ability to lower the screens, this space can be used all day and all year long. The pool gate leads to the wraparound porch back to the front of the house. The homeowners have found this circulation to be quite helpful for site access and party flow. And back to the front of the house, the landscape is minimal, yet so important. We designed in planters to soften the front of the house, but also act as handrails, as we think this is a more considered solution, and David Wilson beautifully executed the design. Thank you for your time. We hope you enjoyed visiting our home. We are so grateful for our amazing team and sponsors. Our underwriter sponsors are as follows. Foursquare Builders. Wes Wigginton is the owner of Foursquare and runs an extremely noteworthy business. And project manager Kevin Emmons is so knowledgeable and fun to work with. His extreme care in providing a thoughtful product is evident through every step he takes. Exclusive Windows and Doors of Austin. Chris Brown is one of the most knowledgeable window suppliers in town. He consistently helps us to select the appropriate product for each project. And in terms of the Clarksville residents, he initiated a new solution and product that drove the design of the home in such a positive light. Thank you, Chris. David Wilson Garden Design. The landscape solution for this home is so well executed, and we'd like to thank David Wilson for that. We are grateful to you for complimenting our design. And now on to the gold sponsors. Love County Interiors and Design. Taylor Klaus merged the old and new styles along with the lifestyle elements of our homeowners together so well. Great job, Taylor. We look forward to working with you again. Lowen Windows and Doors. We have worked with Lowen on a number of projects, and we are grateful for the introduction to the Lowen timber frame curtain wall system. This product greatly impacted our overall design solution in such a transformative way. Thank you, Lowen. Booth Concrete. Chris over at Booth Concrete had a tough task ahead on executing this foundation, working with both existing and new conditions, as well as merging different foundation systems together. The exposed concrete is always a work of art for Chris. Thank you for your tremendous contribution. Austin Iron. We'd like to thank Zach and his team for their work on the structural steel. They are always so precise, and they set the tone for a low tolerance project. We look forward to working with you on the next one. Alpha Granite. Alpha Granite consistently supports the AAA Austin Homes Tour year after year. We appreciate that contribution as well as your contribution to our project. Thank you, Alpha Granite. And now on to the silver sponsors. Architectural Tile and Stone, Austin Water Designs, Eastside Lumber and Decking, Ferguson, J&L Hardware, and Men's Services. Executing a successful project like this takes a great deal of talent and support. We had an amazing team behind us, and we are grateful for their sponsorship to make this tour possible.
We know it's going to be another great AIA Homes Tour, and with special thanks to Ingrid from the AIA office. She is the captain here and has done a beautiful job, and a shout out of thank you to Scott and Molly, both on the tour committee, and all the folks who worked on the committee. We really appreciate all your efforts, and we're proud to be here. A really special thank you from all of us at LaRue Architects to Dan and Sylvia Sharplin, and really a little bit of a shout out to all of our clients. These projects that we get to work on, and they're really great projects. Those kinds of projects only come when you have really great clients, and we were blessed to be able to work with Dan and Sylvia. We enjoyed every minute. We look forward to doing some more projects with them in the future.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you, Jim and Emily, for putting that together. What a project.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was daunting. We had no idea what we were getting into, but we learned a lot and we had some fun with it. So we thought it was fun.
And now our office manager, Brooke Friesen, is a pro at video editing. So we're ready to do this all over again next year.
That's right. Well, to kick off the questions, I'm going to start with one of my own, as I encourage people to keep on writing some of theirs on the Q&A. But you said, talking about lessons learned, would you highlight one or two or a couple of the biggest lessons learned on this project for you guys?
Oh boy. Remodels are tough. So,
Yeah.
it was a great project, but it's a challenging site, really steep, not a whole lot of room to park folks and crews and materials. So, we learned a lot about a little staging and some patience and, it's always a collaboration, but when you get in these really tight sites, it's even more of a challenge.
Yeah, and then, another lesson, at first we were kicking and screaming a little bit with the Historic Commission, just having to, honor all of that. But at the end of the day, I don't think we would have changed any of that in the world. And it was a great opportunity. And, the house would have been completely different if we just went with our traditional contemporary design throughout the entire home. So that was a task that we found really rewarding at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most beautiful examples of just really blending historic and contemporary. You guys did an excellent job on that.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to read some of these questions. Let's start with, what is the wall product behind the grill? I know you guys mentioned some of the materials throughout, so maybe specifically right there.
Sure. Yeah, that's just the metal roofing panels that you typically see on the roof. We took those and just put them on the wall. It's a pretty durable material, and we wanted to have some contrast against the adjacent white stucco, so and really highlight that mass.
Yeah, great. That works really well for an area that's high use, like an outdoor kitchen. Well done.
Definitely.
Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. What was the whole length of the project, the construction timeline, maybe the design timeline?
We met the clients out on the site real early on, before they even owned the site or the lot and the house that was there. So that took some amount of time to work through all that, and some sort of pre-design work there for,
I think we met, it was, I think January, February 2016 that we walked. And then with the Historic Commission, that took a while, and we were still working on the whole design concept at that time, but we had to really, face the Historic Commission first. So I think we started construction end of 2017. So, it was a thorough design process, and then it was about 2 years of construction.
So the homeowners were in late 2019, right around Christmas.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, well, it shows the whole process and attention to detail throughout.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's see. What was the cost of the window package for the project? Nailing down on our CEO.
Yeah, more than you want to know.
Yeah.
Those sorts of solutions don't come without a pretty meaningful price tag. However, given where that site is and the view, I'm not sure I've seen a residential lot in the urban core with that view.
That's
So
right.
with that said, I think, we took a lot of our resources and we moved them into that window package, and then we simplified where we could. We used a fairly simple materials palette to help offset some of that, rather extraordinary expense.
Right, way to allocate value.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Could you discuss the site plan layout and design? With the two, there's apparently 2 vehicle drives, park, site, all that stuff.
Okay, so the original house, the lot's 77 feet wide, and the original house was up right on the front building setback line. It's tight, really tight, 1.5 feet off the property line. So because it's a remodel, that portion of the house that was original stayed tight to that lot line. There is parking underneath, so that was a big part of the design. So we needed 2 cars underneath. But this site also abuts an alley. So alley access in Austin is pretty rare. Most neighborhoods don't have that. So we really wanted to take advantage of that. So we brought a 3rd car parking space into the carport off of the alley. That little space also doubles as our homeowners like to entertain. And so that doubles as a catering event. So they'll park, even like last night at the VIP party, the caterers were parked there in the back, and they were able to use the back stairwell, access that laundry area, back kitchen that Emily talked about, and then do the entertaining. So that part of the site, then the pool, the very first thing we actually sited was the swimming pool. It was an important piece for the homeowner. We had to put it right on the edge of the bluff. But I mean, there's only, when they first said, hey, we'll put a pool in the backyard. And we said, well, there really isn't a backyard here. There's a side yard. So we're going to put the pool on the side yard, and then we're going to wrap the rest of that space with all those functions. So once we knew the pool, it sort of dictated itself. It was a pretty straightforward solution, we think, for the design concept.
Was it a challenging endeavor with impervious coverage?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
We were right up against.
Yeah, we took
our
every
numbers.
foot. I mean, we had to do that to maximize our site. But it has a nice big open front yard, so that really helped. And it's a very deep lot at 150 feet. So once you get the setbacks in down that long side, there's more a green space there that meets the eye.
Yeah. Great. Let's see this one. Do the homeowners have a favorite space in the home? And
good question.
Yeah.
We haven't specifically asked them, but I know that they do love their home and they enjoy a ton of time outside. The sliders open, sitting on the outdoor living area and enjoying some morning coffee and watching the sunset and or the sunrise, I'm sorry, on that side. But I don't think, I don't know of a specific space that they enjoy most. All of it.
So we do have an exercise room underneath. We showed a little shot from the outside, but Sylvia, I think, really enjoys that space. It's got a beautiful view, and it's quiet down there. It's a great space to do a little work out. I think there's some special spots in each spot, each space, but I do know they love to be outside, and those doors are open and those screens are used quite a bit.
Especially right now. Yesterday during the homes tour, I don't know if anybody listening went on the tour, but it was just a fantastic day. And we were so blessed to have those doors open, 70-degree weather. That's what the homes tour is all about in that house.
Yeah, it was the perfect weather yesterday to just really showcase that. Amazing. The living right in and out that you both spoke through from a glazing perspective, from a transition perspective, but also from a program perspective. I think sounds like it might have been a driver for the design.
Yes, definitely.
It's interesting when you go to that party and you see that and you're there and you see those people, and we're all sort of in a very nice little courtyarded space, and it's but it's plenty of room for everyone, and it wasn't crowded, and it was very comfortable. That it flowed beautifully into out. So we thought it was a great test of how successful that concept really is.
Absolutely. And so this next question, I've heard this story before, but I'll let you tell it. It says, it appears as though you removed everything but the facade of the historic structure. Is that correct?
That is correct. We say remodel, that's a pretty loosely used term. So what happened, we started out, we kept the front wall, the right side wall, most of the original structure. There were many coddled on additions over the years. Those, when we worked with Larry and the Historic Commission, they sort of said, yeah, let's move those off, because that doesn't really have anything to do with what we're trying to get to and what did it look like when it first came out of the ground. And we had kept that, but as we began to take the house apart, we found some significant fire damage. So structurally, the roof system was gone. We didn't know. We knew there was some fire damage, but we did not know how far it went. And once those old ceilings came down, there was just no way. So and between that and the rotten water damage and insect damage, we took it apart, but we brought it back exactly like it was. Those are the windows. We did have some new siding milled because we felt like on that west exposure, using a painted pine siding was going to be probably a water problem and a long-term maintenance problem for the homeowner. And that close to the lot line, we felt like maybe even a little bit of a safety issue. So we reclad that building, but with an exact profile to match the original site.
So, preserving the aesthetics, the historic aesthetics, but trying to incorporate a little bit of modern building science.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing, that we weren't able to, for the roof and those structures to stay, but it just, it wasn't going to happen with the extensive damage.
And it's better for the homeowner long-term now. They get a new house, essentially.
That's right. Let's see. More questions from the public. It says, open space area below the pool. Is that a public park? Or is that just part of the home, a garden? And was that a collaborative effort?
Yeah, so when we first met the homeowner on the site, there was an old rental house on the lower part of the lot, and this house that we saw during the tour on the upper part of the lot. So part of the acquisition deal was we take both houses. And so then the other older, really, I'm not sure how it was standing, but that house came down. It was on the lower lot. And so for now, it's a yard, and it may be for a while, but it might be something else in the future.
Okay. But you still had to deal with the original lot as far as calcs and impervious and all that, it sounds
We
like.
did. We re-platted the lot so that we have now 2 standalone lots, and our impervious cover is based on the footprint of our site.
Yeah, great. It says, okay, more questions about the interior of the house. How were you able to conceal the doors so well in the foyer?
Oh yeah, definitely. So there's some concealed hinges on those doors, and so you don't even see any of the hardware at all. And Kevin over at Foursquare, he so meticulously worked with these doors, but they're cut at a 45 degrees. So when they, or not a 45, but they're cut at an angle when they are in the closed position, and it really. They're so seamless. People do not even know where the bedrooms are. Yesterday, I heard so many times during the tour, okay, so there's just one bedroom on this floor. And so I kept saying, okay, there's two more bedrooms over there. And we heard that numerous times. But it's a really great way to keep the formality of the foyer intact, because it is a foyer, right? And that's the old part and the old charm. So, but we were really up against space to use. So that was our solution.
It worked so well. They were like completely seamless.
Yeah.
Great. And that, it sounds like it's also a collaborative solution, right? It was, the idea, and then you get the craftsmanship, you get the product, and everybody, working together to get that right.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're big doors, and they're really thick. So that we can attach the siding, and everything was milled out just
right.
Yeah, there's some serious craftsmanship in that part of the house.
I think the whole house. All right, back another question that asks a little bit of working on historic homes. It asks, and I don't know if you know this, right? But what percentage of homes in Old West Austin neighborhood have been remodeled or rebuilt at this time? Which, but it. Also, they're also asking, is it a requirement to keep the front facade similar to the existing neighborhood architecture?
There are some houses that haven't done that for whatever reason. It is on the edge of the Old West Austin Neighborhood Association, or what we call OWANA, and between that and Historic Commission, it's very much encouraged to keep that. But I have seen some projects there where maybe the house was already down for some reason or another, and it's new construction. But in our case, and I think it's a great solution so that neighborhood doesn't lose what it's really all about. It's one of the most precious neighborhoods in the city, and I think that was a nice way to go about these sorts of projects. It's really mixed use. There's some multifamily, and there's a little single family, and restaurants, and so it's one of those special places, and you got to kind of stop and think about it a little bit before you just go charging in there.
Absolutely. No. And I think it's part of the charm of the home, right? That duality of it that we keep talking about. Oh, a very technical question, or not technical, product related. Someone wants to know if the grass, the lawn is turf, and if so, please share the manufacturer.
Yeah, that is an artificial turf, just in between the pool and the gallery. And I don't know who the manufacturer was, but we could follow up with you if you shoot us an email at info@LaRue.
Yeah, shoot us an email. We'll be happy to find that for you. That's we get a lot of, we have some samples in a box in our office right now. It's becoming more and more popular. So we are sort of testing it, we throw it out in the parking lot and drive on it and see what happens to it. So we're trying to find which one of those products is performing. This seems to be performing pretty well at this point.
It's awesome. 2 years later, it
Yeah.
looks fresh.
Given the amount of
Mhm.
sunlight that takes and the
That's-
and water, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's
just
weathered
off to the
great.
feet. It feels pretty natural, when you're on it barefooted.
Yeah, it's a great solution for a low maintenance application, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, we didn't
definitely.
think, I think that's a tough spot with all that glass to have too many landscape things going on in there and maintenance and sprinklers going off. And so we felt like it's more just a beautiful little spot.
Yep. All right. Are there any, and this is again going back a little bit of the glazing, and there's quite a bit of glazing in the home throughout, and I know you use a bunch of different solutions, but someone is asking, are there any efficiencies built into the heating cooling system, when you have that much glazing, or when they're open, if they're meant to be open all the time?
Well, it's a tough climate, so they're not really meant to be open all the time. We have to pick our days here in Central Texas. Yes, when they are, we do have a pretty robust mechanical system in terms of humidity management because they are open and it is a fairly humid climate. So yes, to answer your question, there is a lot of consideration given to the fact that this house lives with an open door solution a lot of the day, but it's designed to accommodate.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Details, interior details. Here we go. Who designed the wine rack, the wine cabinet that's right there behind the stair?
So, we initially designed that wine rack, and then Love County Interiors kind of followed it through. And I believe it was Precision Woodworks who actually built the wine rack, or the wine art display is what we call it.
It is art, and it is beautiful.
It is art.
That's a team effort for sure.
Yeah, it's a
Those
showpiece.
little wine elements are challenging from a design, especially when you have one that's visible from both sides.
Mhm.
It's 3-sided, right?
Yeah, three-sided technically, yeah.
Yeah, but it is such a centerpiece in that room. It does a great job of both showcasing the wine and being a transition.
Yeah, and letting us have some natural light to the stairwell beyond. So it's doing a lot of things for us.
Yep. Well done. And here we go. Let's see, one more. We're almost done, and we are almost out of time as well. So I have just a couple more. Someone is asking, there are some awesome drainage strategies employed. Do you have any advice for folks trying to work with challenging sites while respecting nature?
Hire a landscape architect.
Yeah, that's good.
It is teamwork after all.
They are the experts.
Yeah, you need a great design professional, civil
Mhm.
engineer, maybe if it's a really
Yeah.
challenging site. We did a lot of soils testing here. It's on a very sloping site. When you saw that excavation video,
Yeah.
half of our site we discovered sits on a pretty good rock shelf, and then right about in the middle of the site, it switches to clay.
Oh, wow.
So when you get on these sloping sites, you got to be really careful. And water management is a lot of that. So on this project, everything on the west side, all that water, uphill water, is captured. And then there's a robust waterproofing and another water collection system at the bottom of the footer. So we have belts and suspenders on those kinds of projects because we need more than to rely on one drainage solution, because if we have a failure with the rest of the system has to take over.
Yep.
But landscape design, great landscape architect, it's a good start.
Yeah,
It
You
takes
have a
the
good-
team.
exactly. You get a good team all around, and then you come up with the best solution. Lastly, are there any personal, so there's a lot of artwork throughout the home, right? from the Life magazines to all these amazing, I mean, the Umlauf, all the beautiful pieces. But did they create a new collection when they moved in, or did they have personal items that you guys had to design around?
Great question. The homeowners had a lot of art. They whittled it down a little bit, and then in the past few years, they have acquired a new collection. One of my favorite pieces, it's called 2020, and it is a person going like this. I mean, because of 2020, right?
Oh,
It was an
Yeah.
interesting year for all of us, but in the design phase, there was one item that we had to design around, and that was a grandfather clock. And that was really special to them. I don't know if any of you saw that during the tour. But
We chase that grandfather clock.
We put it
all over
everywhere
that.
in the
We put
house.
it everywhere in the house you could think of. But
yeah.
they had some beautiful art. They have there's a Bahamian artist, a watercolor artist that they love. So that's prominently featured. Some of the pieces are new, and some we had from the beginning. So you get a house like this, you start getting excited, and to get some pieces that are just right. The Umlaufs, I think, sort of came during the design process, so that was kind of nice.
They have 3 Umlaufs,
Yeah.
and so those are strategically placed around the house, and we really love those pieces.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's just so fun, right? Because then it's just a whole other layer of design and architecture playing together.
It just gets better.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think I might have covered all of the public's questions, but I would like to just give you guys the mic for a minute. I know we've covered a lot, but we could also talk about our projects, for a really long time. And if there's any particular bits and pieces that you guys didn't get to touch on your video or in the questions that you want to share, I'd like to give you we have just a couple minutes left.
Oh, yeah, take it away. Yeah, I know.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's okay.
We, just had a really good time going through this process and doing the CEU, and relearned everything again. And, enjoyed getting into the window details specifically. We think about windows, on every single project, and that really drives the design bus. So, having a good window solution up front is extremely important, and you may have to go through a few different window solutions, to get to the right one. But at the end of the day, we think the one that we came up with is the best one for this project. And
what we do, another thing we learned, and I think we try to do on all of our projects, these things take really great care, and there's a lot going on. From a design standpoint, homeowner expectations. In all of our projects, we try to manage those expectations, but also to get the client, engaged and enthused about their project and really engaged in the process. And that's the special moment. A lot of times in the entire project are those design aha moments with the client where things start to come together. And so we sort of look for that everywhere, but we're also very careful about how things line up and how things fit on the site, and views in and views out, and performance and details. And anyway, it's just a full ball, and we love to do it all. And that was a project where we learned some new stuff. You're doing that sort of a massive remodel addition project. Now we know, so we're ready for the next one.
exactly, yeah, we're ready.
That's wonderful. Well, Emily and Jem, I think you guys did an extraordinary job. Not that, we can repeat this over and over, and everybody will keep saying that because it is a spectacular project. But I'd like to thank you for, putting together this presentation, the CEU, and for being great hosts, not just of this presentation, but, throughout the homes tour.
We enjoyed it. It was
Thank
great.
you for listening.
Denise. Yeah, you were great. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.